where can I get 1 billion naira? Where can I get 100 million naira? So, like you said, the people that are fighting us the most are the people who don't have 1 million. They are content creators who admitted they make up to $10,000 a month. They don't want to pay tax. You think they will go and create a content that says they want to tax $10,000 a month? No. They say they're going to debit your bank account. So you can help them fight.
Debit your 5,000 naira.
You can help them fight the reform, you know. So anyway, nobody will debit your account. Any amount of money you transfer, whether it's 1 billion, whether it's 1,000, it doesn't matter how you describe it, nobody will debit your bank account. At the end of the year, you tell the government yourself. You know the amount that is your income, you know the one that is not your income. So you tell the government, this is my income and here is the tax. If you are exempted, you don't need to pay any tax. Just say this is my income and I'm exempted from tax.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So I just saw a video by Mr. Taiwo Yedele, and he has been putting a lot of effort trying to educate Nigerians to, you know, be able to understand all the different parts of the tax law, to be able to, you know, implement it properly. And the truth is that he has done a lot of work. I've been following on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as well, and, you know, trying to follow his contents to get a better understanding of what this new tax law has in stock for us, right? So one of the things I noticed recently was you know, a debunking on the current narration, and he made it clear that the narration is not important, right? Which, at least to the taxman, right? But just make sure that you can declare, you know, what you have earned as income, and you know what you are spending as expenses as well, right? So just make sure you can declare to the taxman. But in my own perspective, I think I have a sort of not necessarily contrary opinion, but a kind of supportive opinion that irrespective, the narration is still important. Why is the narration still important? Even for an individual, if you have a proper narration for your business, imagine, check your bank transaction for 1 month and tell me that you can remember all the people you send money to, depending on the kind of transactions you make anyway. You understand? So in the month, if you don't have a proper description or narration for the transaction, you might not be able to give account of who you sent money to and what the money was sent for. So you can imagine that. So for me, apart from the fact that you might not be necessarily doing it for the taxman, you are also doing it for yourself, so that when the taxman comes to you and is asking you question, you can give specific narration or specific, you know, detail, especially when there's questioning on what this transaction was done for. So let's say, for instance, there's supposed to be a tax deductible in my account, right? Maybe I paid my rent and I didn't describe it as rent, and maybe the person I paid the rent to, we have several other transactions we have done, you understand? So that I couldn't even place a, you know, a duration when the rent was paid. But rent should be always known anyway. But the point I'm trying to make is that you can make multiple transactions that it might be difficult for you to track what those transactions were for, so that when you are at the end of the year, now listen to this, at the end of the year, when you are trying to give an account to the tax officer, you are trying to look into your books, and you would know that, oh, this was used to buy generator, this was used to repair the generator, oh, this was for fuel specifically, this was for the new furnitures we made, oh, this was to buy tissue paper. You know, when you are very detailed in your transaction on narration, it helps you to be able to give a proper record, and then you could be able to state properly that this transaction was for this particular purpose, this transaction was for this particular purpose. Not trying to contradict what he has said, but in order to support it, you should always put narration in all your description, even though it will not affect, just make sure you can declare properly, right? But for you to be declared properly, you must have a proper documentation of your transaction. In fact, if you use, you know, there are some of these fintechs that you use that they will even be able to help you break down your transactions, right? Some fintechs like OPay, for instance, I think they will help you show your transaction. Maybe you recharge electricity, you can, you know, have electricity, recharge cards, and all those things. You can have everything outlined for you, right? I hope you love this. See you in the next one.
So it's a very simple process that we are even simplifying even further. Now, if you run a small business, This is even one of the biggest benefits of the tax reform. If you run a small business as a sole proprietor, as an enterprise, or you're just hustling, you don't even have a name for the business, you just hustle. Today, there are all manners of levies and taxes. Under this new tax law, we've developed two instruments. One, the Constitution says the center cannot dictate to the state and local governments. So we then drafted, along with the Joint Revenue Board, we drafted a tax harmonization law for subnational. Do you know, I haven't seen this kind of speed before. They're enacting it very fast. Ekiti State started. We have Zamfara, we have Anambra, we have Kano, and I think even just yesterday now we have another state as well. Lagos State has promised to do their own. In addition to that, we have developed what we call a presumptive tax regime. In that presumptive tax regime, we said if your annual income turnover is 12 million or less, you have no capacity to pay tax, because that 12 million is not the money you can spend, right? That's turnover. You need to cover cost of sales, other expenses. And then we went further, because we don't want the tax officer making that judgment. We went further and listed certain businesses that cannot make money. Vulcanizers, somebody is roasting corn by the roadside. You know, there's some businesses where if you have customers for 24 hours and you manage not to sleep, you are still a poor person. So those ones are listed specifically. What we are planning to do is for them to get an exemption, tax exemption stickers, so nobody will bother them. So if you're thinking about a reform that really is interested in the most vulnerable, because they're usually not at the table when people are formulating policies, we haven't catered for them for so long until now. Unfortunately, they don't have the voice on social media to say we like this reform. And that is why we believe that the right thing to do is to press forward until there's any reason to do otherwise.